Well, we got pictures coming out just moments from now. Boxing's biggest stars meet face-to-face ahead of their mega fight less than 8 weeks from now.
Floyd Mayweather, whom you see right there on the red carpet in Los Angeles, he versus Manny Pacquiao, expecting to pull in hundreds of millions of dollars in ticket sales, pay-per-view, and so much more. Our next guest knows firsthand what this fight means for the business of boxing. Joe DeGuardia is a promoter and CEO of Star Boxing and pretty close with Manny, and also you know Floyd, correct?
Yes, I know them well. I know Manny much better than I know Floyd. The last fight that Manny had was against my fighter, Chris Algieri, out in Macau.
Who won?
Many.
Sorry. But when you see all this hype on the, we can show the pictures. I mean, they haven't gone face to face yet. The second they do, we want to let our viewers know that we will take that.
By the way, Joe, when was the last fight that was this big? I think you really have to go back to the days of Muhammad Ali, don't you?
I think Ali Frazier. Ali Frazier is probably the last big fight like this.
And of course, that was a whole different era when America was really tuned into boxing, much more than it is now. That leads to the question, are we due for a comeback of boxing?
This is certainly the comeback. This is boxing at its finest, and I think it'll get us back to the stage where I walked up here today, and I hear the guys talking downstairs about the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight. And it reminds me like when I was a kid going to school and you talked about Ali Frazier, and we talk about it and who's going to win. And that's really what you're going to see here.
Well, the hype is unbelievable leading up to May 2nd. And of course, Mayweather could very well take in $120 million, even if he loses, and Pacquiao, $80 million. But the pay-per-view number, I want you to give us a sense of how much you think overall this fight will end up making.
Well, I think we're going to be at $500 million. 500,000.
Wait, you need to say that again on camera, because that's unbelievable.
$500 million, $500 million, because not only is there pay-per-view, which I think will go through the roof here in the U.S., but you have international sales. You have your shirts, what they're wearing, what they walk into the ring with, their trunks, endorsements all over the place. There's so many different avenues of revenue, foreign sales. So there's so much. When we talk about pay-per-view, we're just talking about the U.S. That's just U.S. revenue, not counting the Philippines, not counting every other country in the world that follows boxing.
Not counting gambling. How much money is going to be gambled on this fight? This could be more than that $500 million, the gambling intake, right?
Well, the gambling intake is going to be tremendous for the MGM, certainly, and for Las Vegas. You can't get a room there now. Sold out right now. Very difficult to get rooms. You have to know somebody to get a ticket to the fight. It's hot. It's a hot ticket.
How much would you bet that people who have no interest in boxing because of the hype will order the pay-per-view?
I think the interest right now is showing that they will. I think that people who are peripherally involved or peripherally even hear about the fights want to see it, want to watch it, because it's an event. It's going to take on even more steam as we get closer and closer to the fight. But right now, I know we're fielding calls from people that never cared about boxing at all. They want to know about the fight. Can we get tickets? Can we get this? Can we get that? So, yes, I believe they're going to be paying and plugging down on pay-per-view.
Now, I'm hoping for a great fight, but we have to remind ourselves that 2 years ago, Manny got knocked out by one punch. Now, it was 2 years ago. He's had a lot of wins since then. But what are you predicting for the fight itself?
Well, I'm hoping we have a great fight, because I think it's great for the business, it's great for the industry. And I think we will have a good fight. Both of these guys, look, for 5 years we've been looking for this fight. And maybe they're not where they were 5 years ago. But they're still great fighters. They're still experienced fighters. They're still veterans.
And they're nice guys. They're guys that people have interest in, personal interest in.
Without a doubt. They're not going to be nice in that ring that night.
No. Or a couple of minutes from now when they face off.
Well, you talked about this being 5 years in the making. Well, they're all 5 years older. I mean, Floyd is 38. Manny's 36. They're not exactly what some would argue as spring chickens of the fighting world. Does that make a difference at all? How good will this fight be? How many rounds?
Well, you know what? The one good thing is they've both gotten older. So I think it makes for a better fight, a good fight, in that they're both slacking a little bit maybe. But really, they're two top veterans, two top fighters going against each other. And you got to hope that it makes for a good fight. And style-wise, it just may.
By the way, the fight begins today in just moments, because we're going to see that face-off. Freddie Roach is the trainer for Manny Pacquiao, and he's been bad-mouthing Floyd and Floyd's father as well, hasn't he? So we could see some real. I know a lot of it is staged, a lot of it is built up just for the TV because we like to cover it, but at the same time, there's some animosity here now, right?
Well, there's going to be a lot of interesting backstories with the different camps, with the different trainers. There's a lot of back end in these. The two fighters themselves will probably be more respectful, but I think the back end and the trainers might not.
Yeah. Well, let's just make a comment about MGM. This is a publicly traded company. Did they really win here by hosting this fight?
Oh, they win tremendously. You can't put a price tag on the business that's going to take place there, the exposure that's going to take place at the MGM, and obviously the gamblers that are going to come in and do, gambling.
But is this just all a flash in the pan? Because it's difficult to find two fighters that have the following of these guys. Both of them, for many different reasons, have a big following around the world. I can't think of another two fighters about whom there would be this much enthusiasm.
Oh, there's nobody else out there that you can have this kind of fight of this magnitude right now. And again, you think back to Ali Frazier, but how big was that? We still talk about it.
Sure.
And I think years from now, I'm hoping that you'll still talk about this fight, Mayweather-Pacquiao.
Joe, you've been in the business a long time. It's great to have your perspective on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure being here.
Joe DeGuardia. You should hang out here and watch because this thing's about to
stay
start.
with us. Joe's not going anywhere. Joe's going to stay with us as we continue to cover this.